God. Ash of War, Wild Strikes. I don't even know what that is. Oh. Whoa, what the flying? This is Elden Ring, and that was a rather rude introduction into what is a hardcore Dark Souls-inspired RPG, action-adventure, a little bit of strategy, you name it, it's got it, let's talk. It's a beautiful, somewhat open world, with barriers placed around it, key bosses to take down, and an underlying story that is not as great as a true core RPG, save the likes of the Elder Scrolls Skyrim in my opinion, but the world that it manages to build around this hardcore, challenging, yet incredibly enjoyable experience is one that has captivated me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jumbo Pixel, and generally speaking, I tend to play strategy games. Civilization 6, Humankind, you name it. These sort of board game-esque, slightly historical based, sometimes based in the stars, strategy games. Elden Ring is a step away for me. I've played Skyrim, for example, GTA, a little bit of maybe Call of Duty or Halo in the past, but by and large, I find that those games tend to just have me going through the motions. I prefer something that keeps me engaged, interested, and active. Strategy games do that for my mind. Maybe Dark Souls could do that for my dexterity, is what I thought. I turned down friends who told me I should buy this game and I rejected it, and I'm not sure if I rejected it because it was simply surging too popular and I thought tall poppy syndrome, let's cut it down, or whether I genuinely thought I actually wasn't capable of playing it or I wouldn't enjoy playing it. And I'm pleased to report so far, I was wrong on all three of those fronts. Welcome to Elden Ring, something a little bit different for me. I'm going to share with you in this gameplay some highlights from on-stream and a little bit of time off-stream, some multiplayer, I'll talk about that in this video, and some single player as well. This is not necessarily a hardcore Elden Ring review, but rather, what's Elden Ring like from the experience of someone with no prior Dark Souls knowledge? I am not ready to dodge and roll and strike like those of you who have played a lot of Dark Souls or similar sort of quite hardcore games like this before. Let me share my thoughts on Elden Ring. I'll reflect a little bit on the game itself as well, some of the features, and my experience as a whole. Welcome in everybody, sit back and get comfy. For starters, I want to say, actually on the multiplayer to begin with, an experience that I didn't think I would ever play because I have very few friends. I'm not interested in the experience of trying to sort network issues and blah, blah, blah. Pleased to report, as you can see on screen, the multiplayer worked almost flawlessly. It's a cooperative experience. Players can come into your world and assist you in what you're doing, and as you can see, loot and add to the world themselves. I had, luckily, some very kind moderators, subscribers, members of the channel to play with. But if you don't have that, you're welcome to join our Discord if you'd like and jump in and find some friends there. I'm sure there are other places to get them as well. Reddit, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Heck, maybe even real life if that's still a thing. Either way, let me turn back to Elden Ring now for a moment. It is notoriously a difficult game, right? It prides itself on it. Think Dark Souls. A world with strong enemies, not dumb NPCs generally that glitch up against walls and just don't fight you, right? These NPCs, even these pretty weak ones here, could potentially, if they get lucky, take you down. It is of course more based around the boss fights, and you'll see that play out in just a minute. The world puts these challenging bosses in your way, bosses that, to be honest, I don't even know if I could defeat by myself, but I have to say that part of those challenging boss experiences, that part that deterred me initially, right? I don't want to play that game, it's too hard, it's not my thing, turned out to be, conversely, one of the things that I enjoyed the most. You see, in a weird way, it's the fact that I'm being beaten down and losing and struggling and actually having to, for the first time in I feel like a really long time, stop going through the motions in a game like this, in an open world or a shooter or whatever sort of broad category you'd like to apply. I'm talking, of course, the opposite of a board game strategy game, right? I'm a character, I'm moving around, I'm fighting, blah, blah, blah. Those games I've found I've gone through the motions, but this game, Elden Ring, broke that for me because it broke me. The combat is difficult, your dodges cannot be spammed, of course, you must time them perfectly and balance out the opportunity cost of all of your other skills and resources, your character statistics. I'll talk a little bit more on character development in a minute, but watch me absolutely slay this bad boy. Look at the health on this guy. Look at the aggression on this guy. It's lucky Miss Filth was there to take the hit for me in this case. I was able to pop a magic potion and continue flailing my glass cannon magical staff at this guy. I do, of course, have my Wolverine claws you'll see on my left hand. Another brilliant element to this game, and one that caught me a little bit by surprise, although to be fair I should have expected it, of course, as I Wolverine people down. The intricacies of the weapons, whether you're a mage like me looking to use spells with the odd offhand dagger or sword, or you prefer the big F-off double-handed warhammer and a ridiculous shield, it's entirely up to you. A little bit of stealth in the mix, and take a look off this balcony at these bosses. I mean, these things are horrendous. The things have nightmares. And again, I can't help but reflect on the fact that even though this is not a game designed or built for me in any way, I can't help but enjoy it. Let's move on from that sort of hard work rewarding element and talk a little bit more about multiplayer and some of the functions within the game as well, like character development, how do you level up, that kind of thing. More of a reflective review. I think that first and foremost, when we come to the reflective review, it's important to know that the way that your character levels up is largely based around, of course, destroying enemies, gathering runes, which is kind of like the in-game currency, and then spending them on levels. I'll show you them in particular toward the end of the video where we visit a site of grace. You can also, of course, use those to purchase items from traders around the world. And like I said at the start of the video, this is not a game that is necessarily pulling you deeply into an intricate story. You're not stuck with cutscenes all the time, there aren't massive worlds and cities like, say, Skyrim, again, to bounce back on a very different, but maybe in the same wheelhouse, kind of big AAA action RPG sort of game. This game approaches the story a little differently. It's more about you and your experience, and while there is absolutely the story of the Tarnished, I'm maidenless, apparently. Thanks for rubbing that in again. And of course, the world of the actual Elden Ring. I won't give you any spoilers, partly because I can't. I only have around 10 hours played so far, and I think that adds to the nuance of this video. This is not coming from somebody who knows this game inside out. This is an outsider's perspective, and that's the whole point. I think that aside from the leveling up, the character creation as well is of course a little bit of fun at the start of the game, right? You design your character, make them big or small, face paints, bald, long-haired, bearded, whatever you want to be, you can do it. But then as you bring that through the world, you find these precious items of loot by defeating the big bosses. It adds on to that reward system that I hinted at earlier. This game is not just throwing dopamine at you, it's rewarding you for skill, for triumph, and for trying really hard. Here's me leveling up, spending some runes, upgrading my different skills. Also here at this save point, which is effectively what this is, you can pass time, which will respawn all the enemies but heal you to full, and refill your potions. Your, sorry Dark Souls fans, but frankly your mana potion and your magic potion. I'm just going to put it like that because that's the easiest way to understand it. These sites are wonderful. They feel like a real respite as well after you've laboured your way, had a few jump scares like I did here, and really fought hard to make it to the next one. This world is impeccably rewarding. Even in situations like this here, where, to be honest, I'm kind of just toying with these dudes. I'm practicing a little bit my dodges, trying to practice swapping from one target to another, and I think that really brings home what the Dark Souls experience... Dark Souls? What the Elden Ring experience, jeez, has been for me as clearly not an Elden Ring or Dark Souls player. It's been one that I found incredibly rewarding. It's an open world with some closed doors, yet I'm not bothered by it. The world feels smaller than a massive open world game, but the intricacies with weapons, character development, the underlying story, and the triumph of defeating a boss and reaching a new point has me wanting more. Thanks for watching. Thanks so much for supporting this video, and to the channel members and regular viewers who are watching the strategy content, do not fear. I love strategy games, and my passion for them hasn't changed either. Your regular viewing will of course continue, with a little bit of extra things on the side, maybe an Elden Ring stream or different game once a week, potentially as a Twitch exclusive, so do make sure you follow on Twitch just in case it's only over there. Anyway, enough shameless plugs. I'll see you next time. See you for Civ Sundays!